that it is the ability of our eye to see nearby as well as far off things clearly by adjusting its focal length. Now, let's understand the mechanism here. Say this is our eye lens. I take this as the eye lens, and you know this eye lens is held together by a pair of muscles. These are called what? Ciliary muscles, right? Yeah, these are muscles are called ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles are attached to this. And what happens that, say, these ciliary muscles, as you can see that these ciliary muscles, when they are in the relaxed state, this is the relaxed state. As you can see, the lens become thin, focal length increases, and you can see far off things clearly. The reverse happens, right? When the ciliary muscles contract, the lens become thick and focal length decreases. That enables us to see nearby objects clearly. So the flow chart is the best way to write down this. So you can say that the ciliary muscles relax, the lens become thin, and the focal length increases. Right, the focal length increases, and I need to add over here that enables us to see the far off things clearly. Now, similarly, as I said, the reverse happen. What happens when the ciliary muscles contract, the lens becomes thick, focal length decreases, and that enables us to see the nearby objects clearly. You should write the rest part, that clearly word. So I think that was the question for the later part. It says write the modification in the curvature of the eye that enables us to see. Now let's begin with the next. I've taken one case study question from the topic called human digestive system. Now if I read this question, it says that the partially digested food coming from the stomach of a person enters a long narrow organ A. And what is A here? So A clearly is the small intestine, as you must be knowing that the food coming from the stomach enters into the small intestine, not large intestine. It is small intestine. So once again, what you should know that the A here has to be small intestine, right? This is small intestine. And why did I show? Because it's given a narrow, long tube, right? So this is small intestine. Yeah, I can mark this as A over here. That's better to remember. This is A in this case is small intestine. As I read further, it says that the organ A receives the secretions of two glands, liver and pancreas. The liver secretes a greenish liquid called B. And what is that greenish liquid secreted by B? And that is bile juice is what liver secretes. So I'll be writing B here as bile juice, which does the emulsification of fat globules. So pancreas secretes pancreatic juice that contains two enzymes, C and D. And what is this? Trypsin and lipase. So C here, C is what? C is trypsin and this is lipase. So I can write C as trypsin and D is lipase. So this is a fat protein digesting enzymes and it digests the emulsified fat. So we got C and D as well, and A is already known to us. A, B, once again, should I mark it? This is small intestine. Now, next is the inner walls of A, that is small intestine, has million of tiny finger-like projections, and these are called what? Villi, right? You should know that E is villi here as what E does here. E is villi here, and you should know the function of E. Let me write on first. This is villi. It actually increases the surface area of contact. These are finger-like projection for the greater absorption of gases, greater absorption of digested food, which help in rapid absorption. Okay, fine. That's already mentioned here. Now, further, it says that the undigested food passes through the wider tube F. So, wider tube F is what? From small intestine, it goes to the large intestine. So, large intestine is F here. So, F is large intestine. This is large intestine. which absorbs most of the water and undigested food from there. All right. So it absorbs what? So it absorbs water from, yeah, that's the main rule. That's it. It does not do any digestion except that excess water it reabsorb. Let's say sequencing of the question. The last part of the tube F, the last part of the tube F called G stores the undigested food. So that is a rectum. This is rectum that stores the undigested food. For some time, the undigested food is passed out through the opening H. So H is anus. So H is anus here. This is H. All right. If I read further, yeah, H is for anus and H as feces in the process known as E. And most of you write it's excretion. It's not excretion. Huh? This process is called egestion. That is removal of undigested food from the body is called egestion and not excretion. Okay, enlist the site. If I read the questions now, it's a turn for the questions. Well, I think we have answered most of it. Enlist the list or the site of synthesis and storage of B. Well, B is what? B, if you look, where is B? B I have written somewhere. Yeah, B is bile juice. And bile juice is secreted by what? Liver, but it is temporarily stored in a gallbladder. This green thing that you can see. Yeah, over here is the gallbladder, right? So it is temporarily stored in the gallbladder before it is released to the small intestine. What next is the question? What are the digestive enzymes C and D? Already written here, the digestive enzyme C is trypsin and D is lipase. Next is why are organ A in the herbivores longer than carnivores? So what is A here? A is small intestine, right? And small intestine, you know that is the main organ where the final digestion is the organ where the final digestion of the food takes place. And this small intestine is longer in case of herbivorous animals because they have to digest the complex sugar called cellulose, right? They have to digest the complex sugar cellulose and therefore they have a longer small intestine than we we omnivorous animals which mostly digest starch, not cellulose. Lastly, if I read the later part, it says name F, we have named it. Part G we named it. Yeah. Where is G? I named it. Yeah. G is rectum. And F we have already named it as large intestine. Then the opening H is anus, we named it. And the process D, the process I, yeah, the process I named it, yeah, is egestion. So this is all about this question. So this question from the chapter carbon is compound. The question says an organic compound A of molecular formula C2H4 on reduction gives another compound B and the molecular formula of B is C2H6. So one thing is clear from this reaction or this statement that here A, which is clearly ethene, gets converted into ethane and that takes place in the addition reaction. So the reaction we'll be writing over here is we can write down the chemical reaction. Let's say if I take A, which is ethene here, and this is ethene on passing hydrogen gas in the presence of a catalyst. This is nickel or palladium is the catalyst, right? To give what? Ethane. And the ethane is what? With two carbon atom and two carbon atom with three hydrogen bonded to this with all being single bond, including carbon-carbon bond. So we can now say what is A here. A is this, and the result is B. Now, if I read it further, what it says else This is B on reaction. The compound B here on reaction with chlorine in the presence of sunlight gives C, whose molecular formula is this. So the B is this here. So I'll take this B compound B here. Take this compound B. I'll take this B first as and B being a reactant this time. And what they're saying that the B when reacted with this hydrogen missing, let's bring that hydrogen. Okay. So this compound B now is reacting with chlorine gas and in the presence of sunlight. So it gives a compound C. So this is what? This is addition reaction, right? This is addition reaction where you will see that the chlorine will be displacing one of the hydrogen atom here. So I can write down the product here. The product so formed will be two atom of chlorine. Let me write down. So this is two atom of carbon. These hydrogen, the five hydrogen will be at its place only, and the sixth hydrogen, this hydrogen will be displaced by a chlorine atom, right? And one chlorine from here and one hydrogen will form the result as what? HCl, right? So now we have to figure out what is C. So C is this. This compound is called C here. And the compound name is C, right? It's not C for carbon here. So let's find out what they have asked in the first part. Name the compound A and B. Yes, we have named this compound A and what is this? This is ethene. Then the compound B, clearly it is a saturated compound containing two hydrocarbon. So this is ethane. This is H. Ethane. And we have to write down the chemical equation of the conversion. Yes, we have done the chemical equation of the conversion of this to this, right? In the first part, we have already done conversion with these being the hydrogen. So this will be the reaction for the first part. Now the next was the condition necessary for the reaction. For the which reaction? I think is for the first reaction. But anyway, we'll say that the condition necessary for the reaction in the first case will be presence of catalyst nickel or palladium. But if they ask for the second, it is in the presence of sunlight. Now moving to the next question, the third part here, what does it says? Name the compound C and write down the chemical equation. So the compound C is what? As you can see, this is chloroethane, right? Is the name of this compound. This is chloroethane. I can write over here, this is chloroethane. This is chloroethane. And finally, the chemical equation for the conversion. Clearly, we have shown here the chemical equation involved in the conversion. So this will be separated from these two. So that should be the answer in this case.